Let's continue our learning with skewness and symmetry for a data distribution. The 3M, mean, median, and mode are all measures of the center of a set of data. The skewness of the data can be determined by how those quantities are related to one another to describe the shape of the data, either it is symmetry or non-symmetry. Okay, some distributions of data are symmetric, such as the bell curve. Some are not symmetric, are said to be asymmetric. To measure of how asymmetry of a distribution is called skewness. Okay, now let's continue to learn about following curves to show the relationship between the 3M, mean, median, and mode. Okay, number one, what do we have? Positively skewed. Okay, when it is positively skewed, when your majority of data fall to the left or your mean. Okay, what is your majority data? That means your mode, median is less than your mean. And cluster at the lower end of the distribution. So the tail is to the right. Okay, most of your data fall to the left or your mean and the tail is to the right. So when your mode less than median, less than mean, so it is skewed to the right or we can call it as positively skewed. Okay, so just remember this. When your mode less than median, less than mean. Okay, next one. What do we have? Here, negatively skewed. Okay, what is negatively skewed? Negatively skewed when your majority of data values fall to the right of the mean. Your majority of data values fall right to the mean. Okay, and right to the mean, that's mean it is greater. Greater. Alright? Your mode is greater than median. Median is greater than your mean. Okay, and then it's clustered at the upper end, right? It cluster at the upper end, sorry. Cluster at upper end of distribution, the tail is to the left. Alright, so when your mode greater than your median, greater than your mean, it is skewed to the left and you can also you can call it as negatively skewed. And on the other hand, what do we have? Symmetry. Symmetry is when the data are evenly distributed on both sides of the mean. So when you have the equal value of mean, median, and mode, so it is symmetrical distribute. So this is how your graph should be. Alright. Alright, so let's look at 4.3, example 1. What do we have in the question? Number 1, find the mean, median, and mode. Give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. Interpret the answer in part A and hence state the skewness of the data. So for question A, given a set of data, we have 29, 48, 53, 35, 29, 58, 29, 8, 31, 25, 18, and 31. So this is as raw data. So let's find our mean that notified with the symbol as bar. Okay, so our formula is summation x divided by n. Okay, so for summation x, what we need to do is just add all the data that we have, right? Then what do we have? 8, 31, 25, 18 plus 31. So all this summation x, we need to divide by how many data that you have or as your n. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So divide by 12. So your mean is when we sum, we get 394. You can use your calculator to find your summation x. And then when you calculate, you should get the same value at your calculator, okay, by using the formula. Okay, so for mean, this is for mean. So next we have median. Alright, median is, we can write it as small m. So median is n plus 1 over 2 observation. Alright. You have to understand this is not our median yet, but it's just our observation. So for this one, you need to rewrite the data in form of, we need to arrange the data. So I choose to arrange it as increasing data. So let's I arrange it. I start with 8, 18, 25, 29, 29, 29. What else do we have? 31, 31, 35, 48, 53, and 58. So let's check. Do we have enough? 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is the data that you need to arrange first before you want to find your observation for your median. Okay, so let's continue with our observation here. So when n plus 1 is 12 plus 1 divided by 2, so you will get 6.5 observation. Okay, 6.5. 6.5 is where? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.5 is between here. Right? Right. So 6.5 is there. So that means your median, you should take both value and divide them by 2. So you get median is equal to 30. Okay, next will be our mode. Mode we can write as capital M. Mode is when your data uh, that occur most frequently. Okay, so as we can see our data, or you want to look at this, that the one that you arrange. So I can see that 29, 29, 29 that happened 3 times. Right, so the most of the data is 29. Okay. Okay, so now let's interpret the value that we have. Okay, so for mean, we will interpret it as, alright, the average value of the data is 32.83. Okay, so the keyword here is the average value. Okay, you must put our subject is our data here lah. Right, next one is median. Okay, for median, we can write it as 50% of the data is at least 30. Or you can change the word at least here as at most 30. Okay, so you can have two different sentence, but can be the same meaning because when we are talking about median, it is about 50%. So our subject is the data. Okay, so you must put the word at least or at most 30. Okay, just choose one word, one sentence only there. Okay, and last one is our mode. Our mode is equal to 29. So the most of the data is 29. Remember our subject is data. So the most is our keyword there for our mode. Okay, straight away we can answer question part 3. Okay, to state the skewness of the data. So to state the skewness of the data, we look at the value that we have. We have our mode is less than our median, is less than our mean, which our each corresponding values are 29, 30, 32.83, right? So from here, we can conclude that the data is positively skewed. So that's how you answer your question. Okay, with the same instructions, we go for another set of data, which is also raw data. We have 15, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and 24. Okay, same as before, first we find our mean, your x bar, write down the formula, summations add divide by n. So we add all the data that we have. Divide by how many data do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So your n is equal to 7. Okay, 139 over 7, 19.86 is our mean. So median. Median is the same, all right, for our data. We have n plus 1 over 2 observation. First, we must make sure that our data is on increasing or decreasing order. So it is already arranged. As you can see the questions here, the data here is already arranged. So we can just calculate observation. So we have 7 plus 1. Right, like I write down as 7 plus 1 there. So it is fourth observation. As the data is already arranged, so you can see at fourth observation here, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So our median is 20. And last part will be our mode. All right. To find our mode, we look at the data. So the data that occurs most frequent is 24. Okay. Okay, continue with instruction 2, how to interpret the answer in part A. So let's interpret our mean. So what do we have? The average value of the data is 19.86. Okay, for median, 50% of the data is at least or at most 20. For this part, just choose either one, right? Either one. And for mode, most of the data is 24. Okay. And last part, skewness of the data. So for the skewness of the data, what do we have? Your value, let's look at your value. You have your mean less than your median and less than your mode, which your mean is 19.86, your median is 20, and your mode is 24. So this the value that we have. Okay, so your mean is less than median and mode. So that's mean the data. Therefore, the data is negatively skewed. Okay. Okay, let's straight away go to our mean. Now let's move on 4.3 example 2. We have the score of 20 students in assignment 1 are as shown as in the table below. So we have score 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and number of students 2, 4, 3, 5, 6. So, when we have your subject for your case, which is your score, this is called as your X. So, X is 21 until 25, and number of students is your F, frequency. So calculate the measures of central tendency of the scores, give your answer correct to decimal places, and interpret the answer. Hence, state the shape of distribution of the score, which is summation fx divided by summation f. Okay, for summation fx, you need to multiply the pair of the data, the pair of our x, and its frequency, right? So 23 is our x, its frequency is 3, 24 with 5 as its frequency, and 25 with 6 as its frequency. So we divide all these with our summation f. Summation f is already, we can calculate from the question, and it's also given 20 students. So here is summation f. Okay. So here you will have 469 over 20. The value that I put here, 469, okay, and 20 is the values that you need to rewrite in your answer sheets, okay. Even you are using your calculator to get the final answer. So it is compulsory. And for this one, we don't have to write anything about it, okay. So at the end, your mean is 23.45, and we have to interpret the mean. Even the question didn't ask to interpret, okay. In this question we ask you to interpret. Even it is not a request, you need to interpret it. So our interpretation for this one will be, as it is a mean, so we have to have the word the average. Average of what? So our subject is score. So the average score of 20 students in assignment 1 is 23.45. Okay. Okay, next we will move to find our median. Alright. Our median, our data here is called as frequency table, still for ungrouped data. Okay. For example, before we learned about raw data. Okay, for raw data, it is not in table. Not in table. Alright. But here it is in the table. But as you can see here, your X is form of ungroup. So for this part, we still use the same formula for median, which is you need to find by taking the median n plus 1 over 2 observation. So our n here is 20, right, which is our cumulative frequency, summation f, plus 1 over 2 observation. Right? So you have here 11.5 observation. Right, for us to find observation, we need to depend on our capital F, which is cumulative frequency. So that's why I put a column here for you to find cumulative frequency. How can we find cumulative frequency? It's just sum of the frequency, current frequency and frequency before. So as you can see here, what the frequency we have? We have 2. So next 2 plus 4 we have 6. 6 plus 3 we have 9. 9 plus 5 we have 14. And 14 plus 6 we have 20. Okay, the final value must match with our total n there. Okay. So when we are talking about 11.5 observation, so 11.5 will lies here. Okay, because it's greater than 9 and it is below than 14. So 11.5 will lies here, but our median is not about frequency. Our median is about our our subject matter. So our subject matter here is 24, our score. So here our median is m equal to 24. Okay, so we can interpret it as 50% of the students get 24. Okay, get at least, all right, at least 24 score or marks in assignment 1. Okay, you can also use at most. Right, for last part for this, okay, so we want to find our mode. Right, our mode here who has the highest frequency, which is here we refer on small f only. It's not cumulative, okay, because we want to know each frequency for each x. So the highest frequency here is 6. So our mode is 25 because it occurs the most with 6 times. All right. So our interpret for this one is most of the students get 25 score or marks in assignment 1. Okay. All right. So let's move on our last part. Hence, state the shape of the distribution. So we will recall back what the value that we have. We have mean with 23.45 value. And we have median, which is 24. And our mode, which is 25. So from here, we can conclude that the distribution is skewed to the left. Okay. So what can I say here? What is important for you? For frequency table and group data, you need to find capital F because you will need this when you want to find your median. But for fx, you don't need to write the value of each multiplication, each pair of multiplication because we just need the final value. Okay. Let's continue with our example 3. The distance traveled to work by 150 kilometers were measured to the nearest 5 kilometers. This is summarized in the following frequency table. Distance travel, which is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40. And numbers of kilometers 12, 23, 45, 32, 21, 9, 5, and 3. Find the mean, median, and mode for the distance traveled by the 150 kilometers. Round the distance traveled to the nearest kilometers and interpret the answer. So your subject here is distance travel. That means your distance travel will be your x and the number of kilometers will be your f as frequency. Okay, the keywords here is 150 kilometers, right? 150 kilometers. So that is our summation f equal to 150, which is our n. Okay. So firstly, let's find our mean. Okay, it is summation fx divided by summation f. So summation fx you can find by using your calculator. You don't need to rewrite that, but we need this value, which is 2659. Okay, by using your calculator. Rewrite the values and you will have 7.97. And stated in the equation, rounded the distance traveled to the nearest kilometer, so we can round it to 18 kilometer as our mean. So the interpretation will be the average with our subject distance travel. The average distance travel to work by 150 commuters is 18 kilometer. Okay. Next part will be our median. Our median with the same formula for us to find the observation, right? Remember, our observation is not yet our median. So it is 75.5 observation. So again, we need to use capital F. So that's why you need to find F here, capital F here. So let's sum up the frequency. You have 12 here, 12 plus 23. You will get 35, 80, 112, 133, and so on. And make sure the final value is the same like your total frequency or your N. Okay, so here 75.5 lies at this. Okay, it is greater than 35 and less than 80. So our median, let's look at our subject. It is 15 kilometer. So our median is 15 kilometer. So let's interpret it. Can I write it here? 50% of the commuters, okay, travel at least or at most 15 kilometer. Okay, right. Okay, so the last part will be for us to find our mode. Okay, our mode depends on our acts. So it is our acts that occur most frequently. So let's look at our F that has had the highest value is 45. So our mode is 15 kilometer. Okay, remember to put the unit as well when you find the value because we already know it is about kilometers. So let's interpret it. Most of the commuters travel 15 kilometers. Okay, and that's it for this question. So that's the end for our lecture.